Welcome. I'm Mary Polchaninoff, and welcome to Sure Things. Well, in going with some of the theme that I followed in my last few shows, I have a guest on today who is also going to talk to us about how the impact of the pandemic appeared in her workspace as well. So this is someone I've known for quite a few years. I'd like to welcome Beverly Scully, who is Director of Thames at Mitchell College. Hi, Bev.
Hi, Mary. How are you today?
Good. I'm great. And I was trying to think before we came on how long we've known each other. And I'm thinking like at least, 14, 15 years.
Yeah, I think so. We've known each other for a while, although that doesn't mean we're older.
Oh, no, we won't go there, Bev. No. So Bev and I used to work together as administrators in a district, in the Cheshire School District. But presently, Beverly's working in higher education. And I brought Beverly on because I noticed amongst my friends and my neighbors when they have their children going off to college, the impact the pandemic's had on everyone, the students, the instructors, the parents, everyone. So Bev, I'm so glad you can be with us today to talk more about what you noticed on the impact. And I know we talked right when the pandemic was hitting, and you had to, as I say now, pivot and address that. So could you give us some of your background and how you addressed some of those issues that appeared way back in March?
Sure. Well, initially, when we sent our students home to remove all of our instruction to remote or online learning, none of us expected to be gone for such a long time. But as things unfolded in the state and across the United States, as everybody did, we all had to stay home and learn Zoom or any other platform that we might use, and just modify how we teach and learn. So I think that our students did an excellent job moving to remote learning because they're very techy. They're tech savvy, this age group of college students. So it was easy for them to roll into joining into a class that's online. I think sometimes the instructors had to really pivot because all of a sudden you don't have your students in front of you, but you have to start teaching a different way. So that was new learning for a lot of the instructors, but we all did it and we supported each other. We had a lot of professional development and learning how to do different things online and use different instructional strategies.
And when that really hit, when that first occurred on campus, you had students in the dorms as well. Was that a thing where you had a weekend, they collected their things and left, or did they have to come back and how did that whole process work out for you?
Well, as I said, we weren't initially, as any college, we weren't sure how long we would be gone. Yeah. So we left and students did not fully move out. And then they had to come back to campus at the end of the semester and retrieve their things from their rooms. So that was done with great care. Our director of residence life is amazing, as all college directors are. And we have rotation schedules, and certain amount of students can be on a floor at the same time, or in a room, or in a pod. And just safety always comes first with all of our students and our staff. So that's how we did that.
Did you, when that was occurring and as everybody was in the same boat, was there collaboration between the other universities in the area, or how did you share information as everybody ended up leaving campus and going remote?
Not so much with me, but with the college president and vice presidents. They're all on a task force together, and they all meet all the time anyway, in higher education. The college presidents meet, and they're very close-knit group from what I've heard. I don't have the pleasure, thank goodness, that I don't have to make those decisions at this point in time. But they are very close, and they all share information and learn from each other. And all last summer, if we move into the summer, we had task force meetings every week. wherein we wrote plans about our students returning, and a lot of the information we gleaned was from the college presidents meeting together and the CDC and the governor's mandate. So we had to take a lot into consideration, but I think that the presidents are a very tight-knit group and they help each other tremendously.
So they relied on each other for that information. We saw similar accounts when I talked to one of the superintendents for the public schools. They have that coalition together, and they learn from each other on that. But even as the students leave and you go to remote learning, you have the instructors that then have to shift. How did that look? Was that, when you say professional development, did the university offer then some webinars on how you can adjust your instruction for online, or how did the instructors deal with that?
Yes, that's exactly what they did. I'm a techie by nature, so it didn't affect me as much, but I have a staff, so I would help them and help them with strategies. We have an amazing library on campus, and one of our librarians runs our platforms, our student platforms, staff platforms, and she does videos. So I would say videos were very big then, explaining how to use our platforms and what you could do. Just expand, turning papers in, doing tests, having discussion groups, discussion areas, and having students interact. That was the challenge, and feel connected. Yeah. And so I think that our librarian, who was running the professional development and sending us articles, sending us YouTube videos, did a phenomenal job. And I believe the staff, the faculty did an excellent job with that too.
They really worked on that then, wow.
Yeah.
So that was all in the spring. Did you, does the university offer, does the college offer summer courses? And over the course of the summer then, did those all have to be delayed or postponed, or did they also just go remote?
No, we went remote. We have a great program where we offer mini masters, they're called, and our students can earn extra credits and sign up for mini master courses, and those were all remote too. So our students had the opportunity to take the courses that were offered and in a remote way, and they did it. It was, as I say, this is a group of students that we work with that are, comfortable with technology. So they push forward on that. It's nice to see.
Can you tell us a bit about how the university or instructors also reached out, or how did they address parents or support parents during this? Because I'm sure you had many questions and anxiety coming from parents with all the changes.
I think that's communication. Yeah. And our president is excellent at putting out newsletters. And I was on the task force committee, as I said, and we would write procedures so that the parents would feel secure in what we were doing and how we were delivering an education to their sons and daughters. I think that a lot of parents and students and parents were still wanting a connection socially. So our resident hall staff, as all the other colleges, were offering fun events on Zoom or whatever platform the college was using, so that our students would get together socially and just do, just different fun events. Like anything that you can do in person, you can convert to Zoom and have fun with different social activities. And our students, those were highly attended. So And so in addition to classes, we also were a strong reach out socially for our students, because they were home. So they needed to connect with each other.
I had one of the guests I had on is a psychologist, and we talked about the impact the whole pandemic and being at home had on some of the young people. He talked mainly about some of the high school students as well. Did you notice, or were there discussions and PD about assisting with the students and their mental health during this time?
I did not take part in that, but I'm sure there was. But I do know that even in classes, it was important for all of us, then we discussed this as a group, to give our students an opportunity to share with each other in the Zoom room. And it was nice. For example, I teach math, so we had bring your pet to Zoom. So we all, because our college students, they might not miss their family per se, they do. Yeah. And they miss their home life and they miss their parents and siblings, but they really miss their pets. And so I always had bring your pet, and we would go around the Zoom room and introduce our pets. And those are the small little things that I think you have to do as far as mental health. You have to, I believe that it's important for students to feel connected. Yeah. And so any little thing that's just an example of how you can still help them feel connected, because they're isolated. They were on a college campus where they're free, and they love that. They love being able to take care of themselves and do for themselves. And now they're back at home. And so let's get them connected to their classmates.
So how long was it that that you were totally remote? When was it that you started introducing dorm life back for students that felt comfortable? We were remote all the way through May, and then the summer was good in Connecticut, and so we planned on having our students return in August, and they did, and we had safe return. We returned the students over a span of a week. As I said, they have to only a couple per floor, one in a roommate, very, very structured return, and we're actually doing that now this week. And the students have to return with a negative COVID test, and so that when they return, they have the negative COVID test, they moved into their room, and then we were going to do 2 weeks online learning, and that's how we did it in August, September, and we're doing it now in January. Yeah. So we're fully remote for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks. And I wondered, just because this was a curiosity for me with the process, when you say they have to return with a negative COVID test, do they actually bring in a piece of paper? Is there a website they go to put it on? Or how are they held accountable for that?
They load their test results onto a confidential web area at our college, and all colleges do that, or colleges also have an app, and each college chooses a different app, and then students can load up their test results there. Oh, we also have that app is where the students are required every day to log in symptoms. So either no symptoms or click off certain symptoms. And then if they click off symptoms, then the health department, our on-college nurse would call them and talk them through their symptoms.
So it's a very, very delineated set process. That's great.
Correct. Correct.
We're going to take a short break, and after this we'll come back and talk more to Bev Scully. Be right back.
Thank you.
Valley Shore Community Television is constantly adapting to the demands of our viewers. Busy schedules are making it hard for viewers to watch shows when they air.
Television has changed dramatically. We don't have to be appointment viewers or listeners anymore.
No.
We can do this in real time.
VSC TV has made it easy to watch all our locally produced content online and when you want it. Visit vsctv.com and click on the Watch Online tab to watch live, or visit our local show playlist to easily navigate your favorite shows anywhere, anytime, and on any device.
The way to this world is for free. Freedom from the way to
VSC TV is your local Connecticut Mid-Shore Valley digital connection.
Hi, and welcome back to Shore Things. Today I'm meeting with actually a good friend of mine, Bev Scully, Director of Thames at Mitchell College. Welcome back, Bev.
Hi, Mary.
Hi. So we have been
Hi.
talking about, we just finished up talking about the process of students actually verifying that they had a negative test or how they're feeling, which is, as you said, many colleges are using that. I was wondering, because we talked early on when students were going back about the amount of testing that was going on, even at Mitchell College, at your college, that process that they had to ensure campus safety, really, that everybody was healthy coming back. Could you explain a bit about how that process was working with testing the students?
Yes, initially when our students came back in August, September, they would be selected for random testing, and we would just rotate testing for our students on that basis. Now, when they're coming back, they are required to test every week. So all students are going to be tested every week, and that process will launch out starting next week because they're moving in this week with a negative test from home wherever they live, and then starting next week, everybody will be tested, staff, students, once a week.
And you have that process right on campus to actually give the test and then get the results in a timely fashion.
Yes, we're very lucky that way, and it goes right into that app I was talking about.
Wow.
So everything is run through the app, and I think the companies are doing an excellent job designing those apps and making sure that everything's in one area.
So I assume that when we say students, does it include the staff as well, that they also have the opportunity to get tested once a week?
Yes, so even though I've been saying students have to come back to campus with a negative test, staff also does. Mm-hmm. So basically no one's allowed on campus unless we also do the app, I do the app, and we have to load our test results into that. If we're tested on campus, it automatically goes in, so we're lucky, yeah.
You're lucky there. Do you, I was gonna ask, besides getting tested there, to have the, you have to have the negative test to come back. Are there staff, because I know that public schools in general, are having a difficult time with staff that for reasons, medical reasons, are not able to be exposed, so they don't come to school. They're also teaching remotely. Do you have staff that are also still teaching remotely due to different concerns?
Oh yes, I think that the colleges and universities have done an excellent job asking staff what they feel most comfortable with and how they would like to deliver the instruction for their class. And that's standard across all of Connecticut from what I've heard from other friends too and other professors that they're leaving it open-ended for the staff, yeah.
Yeah, I have heard that. That's why I was following up on. I have a neighbor whose son's in college, and the same thing. The staff can choose to be remotely, and then also at this university, I'm thinking of the students can choose. Is that the same at your college, that they could choose to stay remote?
Yes, we actually have students that do that. They'll choose to do remote learning. I have a couple of students in my program that have chosen to do that, and that's fine. Whatever they feel safe doing. And my ultimate goal is that they're learning, and if that's the best way they're going to learn, that's what they should be doing, because this is an anxiety-provoking time. As you said, you asked about mental health, so anything that we can do to support our students and helping them feel safe is important.
Do you think the parents actually get together and have any kind of parent support groups with this whole thing going on, with their students being home or their worries about it? Have you heard of any? I was just wondering if they support each other.
I don't know. I think that's a fascinating question. I would hope that they would, but I think that from the parents that I've spoken with, they're all on Zoom and trying to keep going with their careers too. And, you've seen on the news, it's troubled times. So I think that I would hope that would be true, maybe through Zooming church groups or that sort of thing, or neighborhood groups. People get together and maybe get together for a dinner in Zoom or their families. I think it's important for parents to actually support each other. Good point, Mary.
Yeah, I wondered about that too, because I've heard of it, as you said, in other instances where parents can reach out and do that. given all that's happened, and we're going on a year really, in March, a couple of
Right.
months we'll be going on a year with this.
Right.
Do you think looking ahead, whether it's instruction or some processes, do you think there might be some lasting changes on campuses going forward?
I think that let's use like incoming freshmen, for example. Incoming freshmen, everything when you come to campus is done, unless you go to campus for a tour through admissions, but then you're turned over to your advisors and your instructors and anybody that would help you, financial people, but it's all been done by paper. So now what we're doing is we're actually meeting with students in Zoom and their parents. And I never met my students until they arrived on campus in August, and unless they came for a tour. But I think that that's something that I would continue, is to reach out to students and see the parents and see them face to face in Zoom and help them and answer their questions, so that especially for that incoming freshman, life is a little bit smoother when you move to the college campus. So I think that's a benefit, actually.
That's a great point. Has the impact of all this with the changes in any way affected the calendar? Do you see changes there at all, or?
Yes, there's a big change. The colleges and universities have put out, most of them are doing this, if not all, is that there isn't a spring break.
Oh.
So students are coming back probably a week later, and most colleges and universities, some aren't going back on moving in until the middle of February. It all depends on the calendar for that college. And they, because we don't want our students to leave campus and then have to re-enter and come back with a negative COVID test again and redo move-in. So what we did was we're starting a week later, and then we're doing the semester calendar without that big long week break.
So they'll just have instruction all the way through that week?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds as though the planning is pretty much to have the same process. They come back in January all the way through to May or June. The same type process.
Yes. Yeah.
Last year, for the students moving on for commencement and moving from program to program, were there any ceremonies, or were they also all virtual?
They were all virtual at that point in time, because that's where the state that's where we were all leaning. So everybody did virtual back then. I'm not really sure what will happen this spring. We're hoping for maybe in-person experiences. We won't know until we follow the CDC and what Governor Lamont wants us to do. We stick with the rules and the guidelines for our state, and
And that really goes. I know, and that really goes back to what you said earlier on, that it's almost like a moving target. You don't know. You can't put the stick in the sand and say, okay, this is where we're going to be, because we just don't know at this point.
That's right.
Which is very interesting. But I do hope, and I had just watched a documentary. It talked about even high school kids and not having that graduation, and the effect it had on them was so great that you do hope going forward, that they can have some type of closure. As they meet that going ahead. This has been really, really enlightening, and I'm hoping supportive for some parents. What if you could give parents some reassuring tips or reassuring ideas to think about with this whole thing? Because I know campuses are really starting, it seems like, in earnest next week. What tips or what advice could you give to parents, Bev, from your perspective?
Just make sure that you encourage your sons and daughters to follow the safety protocols of whatever the colleges are asking the students to do. Most of it is the same. It's the same for adults as it is for college students. Social distancing is critically important. Wearing a face covering and the proper face covering and wearing it appropriately is important. So if parents can help with that by encouraging that, and washing the hands and using hand sanitizer, And following, when our students enter a classroom, they wipe down the desk, they put down their learning materials, and then when they pack up, they wipe down the desk again, just helping them, remind them to stay with those safety procedures. And then their sons and daughters will become, because they'll feel safe and they'll be able to learn, and then mom and dad will also become, because they'll know their sons and daughters are, so it's like a nice little circle.
Yes, that is very supportive to know. And it's interesting too, because I know I had heard information saying when we talked about the vaccines that they even thought about moving up the vaccines for college students, because they were feeling that those were the population too that was getting together and spreading the whole thing. But it goes along with what it says. You're saying the safety precautions on campus, as well as parents that are encouraging that at home too, which is wonderful. Yeah.
And, you know, quarantine before you go back to the campus, and just, you know, being a model for your sons and daughters when you go shopping and you wear your face covering, they wear it. I mean, we're in Connecticut. We're so lucky. We follow directions. We're very lucky. And I mean, I can't tell you, I haven't gone out anywhere without seeing anybody with a face covering on. So, and I know that all of those parents out there are doing that and modeling it for their sons and daughters. So we appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you, Bev Scully, Director of Thames at Mitchell College. Bev, thanks for spending time to talk to us today. It's a very interesting time as students do get back to campus very soon. So thanks again, and hope to see you again soon. And thank you to everyone for signing on for Sure Things. Until next time, stay safe and take care. Bye.